Welcome to the Spiritist Companion Podcast. My name is Yuri Castro, and I'll be your companion on this journey where we study, reflect, and we put Spiritist teachings into practice. If you enjoy what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, to follow our channel, and to send this episode to someone who might benefit from it. Today we're going to be exploring Chapter 1 of the Gospel According to Spiritism, a book by Allan Kardec, the codifier of Spiritism. This is a profound chapter in which Kardec explains the continuity and unity of divine revelation, Moses, Jesus, and Spiritism as successive stages of the same law, the law of God, given to humanity according to our level of spiritual maturity. First, we learn about these three revelations as we learn that Moses, Jesus, and Spiritism in a way do not contradict one another. Quite the contrary, they complete one another, each illuminating what humanity was prepared to understand at the time. Moses brought the divine law summarized in the Ten Commandments, and he also brought the civil and disciplinary laws necessary for a rough and rebellious people who needed external rules, penalties, and structure. All were necessary at the time. But the divine law, that is eternal. The civil and ceremonial laws were temporary. They were adapted to the needs of that time. And then came Jesus, our dear Master Jesus. He arrives not to erase Moses, but to purify, to elevate, to spiritualize the law. And that's why he says on Matthew chapter 5, I did not come to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill them. Some translations say abolish, which is the same meaning. With that, our dear Master removes the rigid, punitive spirit of certain traditions, the excessive formalism that took place, the idea of a God who punishes by anger. Instead, Jesus brought the law of love in a transformation, forgiveness, mercy, and the understanding that God is a Father, a loving, a merciful Father. Spiritism finally comes not to replace Jesus, but to explain his teachings with clarity, using the voice of the higher spirits. Spiritism reveals the full meaning of the moral laws, helps explain justice, divine justice, of course, through reincarnation, which is something we already discussed in this podcast in the previous episode. Spiritism teaches where we came from, why we suffer, where we're going, and invites us to live the gospel today, not only admire it. Spiritism is considered, therefore, the third revelation, not by an individual like Moses or Jesus. It is the work of the spirits, a collective teaching, universal, like a light illuminating all humanity. Kardec also recalls something essential in the Gospel according to Spiritism and throughout all his works, that Jesus is the most perfect guide God has offered to humanity. Why? Because he lived the divine law in its most complete expression. He embodied what it means to love God and neighbor. He did not preach revenge, fear, exclusivism. No, he offered fraternity, forgiveness, humility, and compassion. Spiritism insists that the gospel is the purest moral code ever given to the world, and that Jesus' teachings are the path to our spiritual evolution. We can even go beyond and see how these revelations, they can also appear metaphorically inside us. So the Moses of duty, which is the voice that says, you must do the right thing, you need discipline, There are consequences for your actions. It is the beginning of this moral awareness. We also have the Jesus of love, the voice that says, love more, forgive, be merciful, transform your heart. That's the maturing of the soul. And we must also awaken the spirit of understanding. The one who says everything has a cause, life continues, progress is inevitable, and suffering is educational, and that we are responsible for our own spiritual growth. These three revelations are not only historical phases, we can also think of them as these inner stages of our own evolution. We also learn that the divine law is written in our conscience. That means we already know intuitively what is right. We are gradually rediscovering these truths through experiences across many incarnations. The purpose of life is not external obedience, but inner transformation. That's why Jesus says that he came to fulfill the law, meaning to bring its true meaning to the heart, to live that divine law, not the civil, kind of arbitrary law that was needed to quell the anger of that people of that time, but the law of love, the divine law, which is immutable. With Moses, we were guided through fear because we weren't yet mature. Jesus guided humanity through love because love is the essence of the divine law. Spiritism guides humanity through reason because a faith that thinks is unshakable. So we have the duty, we have the love, and we have the understanding. Jesus' teaching, I did not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it, means the time has come for the law of God to live inside us, not as fear of punishment, not as blind belief, but as conscious love. So how is it that we can apply the teachings? I know this is the favorite part of some of you who have told me that already. So I wanted to bring the practical applications, living this law today. Number one, let's replace punishment with understanding. So instead of asking, who's to blame? Let's ask, what can I learn from this? How can I transform myself? I believe this can help shift from the Mosaic stage to, let's call it the Jesus stage. Number two, bring love into our duties. So when we do a task, either difficult, routine, or tiring, ask ourselves, how can I do this with love? A duty done without love becomes a burden. A duty done with love becomes a blessing. Number three, let's stop waiting for the world to change first. The true transformation begins within, not outside. So every time we say, I'll be patient when others are patient, or I'll forgive when they change, I'll calm down when life becomes easier, we're just delaying our spiritual fulfillment. Let us begin from us. Number four, meditate on divine justice. So when something feels unfair, let's remember, life continues beyond death. No suffering is meaningless. Every experience is part of a greater spiritual plan. This perspective, I believe, can help replace the revolts that we sometimes feel with resignation and despair with trust. I also highly recommend studying a passage of the Gospel daily. It can be something as short as 5 minutes even, one verse even. Open the Gospel, read, think, and apply. Spiritism teaches us how to understand and practice the gospel, but the effort must be ours. So every time we forgive, every time we help someone, every time we control an impulse, every time we choose patience or serve without expecting a reward, or when we replace anger with compassion, we are fulfilling the divine law in our daily lives. We are fulfilling that law that Jesus talked about, the law of love, the divine law. Not the civil, like I said, arbitrary, or the law that was needed for the time for that people to live by, but the divine law, the one that stays with us. My dear friends, as we conclude this episode, let us remember that the divine law evolves with us in the sense that it is within us. It meets us at each stage of our journey because God is merciful, perfect. It calls us forward gently, persistently, lovingly. Moses showed the path. Jesus illuminated the path, and Spiritism explains the path. But it is our feet, our heart, and our will that must walk it. Thank you so much for your presence here with me today, and I hope, as usual, that this was somewhat helpful. If it was, make sure to subscribe, to follow our pages, and to send this to someone else so we can spread the seeds of light together. Let us always remember that Jesus didn't come to destroy the law, the divine law. He came to fulfill it. So let us do our part in fulfilling the law as well. I hope you all have a blessed week, and may peace remain with us. I'll see you on the next episode of the Spiritist Companion podcast. With fraternal love, your Spiritist companion.